So Michaella, take it away.
Hi guys, thank you very much for tuning in today. We've got lots and lots of Christmas crafts, and my sewing machine broke this morning, so everything that we'll be doing is hand sewing. If you need anything after today, just feel free to give me a message or an email. Chris will provide my contact details. Similarly, any patterns and any equipment lists that you need, feel free just to message me and ask away. We've got so many things to look through today. I'm just going to give you a little quick scan of some of the table, just so that you can see there's lots going on there. But we're going to start with wreaths, I think, because we've got 3 or 4 different kinds of wreaths that we can make. And we're going to start off with metal coat hangers, because there's lots of these in excess and they're a lot cheaper to buy than any of the wreath rings that you'll find in any of the craft shops. So you just start with a normal coat hanger and you just start bending it out. With some of them, especially these ones, I have to use pliers just to straighten these bits out a little bit. If you can't do it, it's fine, because it'll be hidden somewhat with your decoration, but it just makes it look slightly better. Doesn't have to be perfect by any means. So we're going to start with a traditional wreath, just a quick version of evergreen one. So I've just ran about the garden this morning. Unfortunately, it was really wet. You should really forage stuff for your wreath when it's dry, and make sure it's above dog pee level as well. So yes, waist height and above. We'll go for that. So we're just trying to make a sort of circle out of this. And it doesn't have to be a circle, you can do anything. There's a love heart one here as well. So just a basic ring shape from your coat hanger. And the easiest way to make a normal wreath is to start gathering things in threes. Threes looks better. So we've got some holly and some cyrus, some fir. We've just got any evergreen that we've even got some herbs, any evergreen at all that we could find in the garden, and bunch them up as a three. I've just got some, this is jewellery wire, but you can get florist wire and such as well that you can use, and it'll do the same thing. Or if you've got a fishing gut's nice as well because it's see-through too. So I've just wrapped that. Oh, pulled it quite tight. If your wire snaps, just rewrap it, it's not a problem. And we're just going to lay it on the wreath like this. And wrap the wire around. So because I've laid this one in this direction, all the other ones I'm going to have to lay like this, going this way, working back from this one. So we'll grab another little bunch of anything. 1, 2, 3.
Did you tie a knot in that just there, where you put it onto the wire?
I didn't tie a knot in it for that one because I wrapped the first bunch and then I've just wrapped it round the wire around 3 times. You could knot it, but it's just giving yourself more work, I think.
Oh, right. See, the thread's still attached to the spool.
Yes, the wire's still attached.
Okay,
Yeah.
I missed that.
So all I'm going to do with this one, I'm not even going to wrap these 3. I've just got them bunched here. I'm not going to wrap them individually, I mean. I've got them bunched here and then I'm just using the wire again just to hold them in place and wrapping the wire round. So, like that. Yeah? Is that okay? Can everyone see that all right? This is one of the easiest ways to make wreaths. It is very simple, so don't go spending a fortune, but you can make one really easily at home. The only thing I will say is watch your fingers, because a lot of the evergreens are extremely spiky, especially fir and juniper. Juniper is a great thing to use traditionally in Scottish history. We've always used juniper for Yule and things, but it's really, really spiky, so just be careful. So again, grouped in 3, lying them on top there and just bringing the wire back round 2 or 3 times to secure that, and we're just going to keep going. And that's the first way you can make it. Now, all of the things that we're going to be doing today, it's by no means does it mean that this is the only way to do it or the correct way to do it. It's just the way that I do it. So if you have other ideas, if you have better ideas, adaptions, there's lots of really good YouTube videos to give you direction for lots of different things. This is simply the way that I find the best and most cost effective using most recycling. So we've just got some ivy in there as well, and you can see that starting to build up now. Some more of the spiky bits out the way, I think. And don't worry if, I'll show you this bit's got a little bit of a very spiky bit on it, but we can just trim that. If it's too long, if it doesn't quite fit with your aesthetic, don't be worried to trim things, because we can always add on top of this as well. And then we'll just continue round. So again, your 3s, 1, 2, and we've got some holly there, which is going to be jagged, but that's okay. 3s, and we lay it on top of the wreath like this, and just wrap your wire again. Now try and make sure this is quite tight, because as they dry, they will get smaller, so the wreath will get slightly looser as they dry. That's why it's better to do all your foraging when your products dry as well, as opposed to in the rain. But we are in Scotland in winter, so you know there's a degree of leeway there. And again, just a bunch of things. You can use all sorts of, I've got rosemary here as well that I was going to pop on it, and there's some thyme that will be going through there as well, just because it smells lovely. So there's no steadfast rule of what you should use. You can also use flowers, as long as you secure them well so that after they dry, they don't all just fall off and leave you with a bare wreath. Again, just your bunch of 3. So this one's going to look slightly heavier at the top, but that's okay. Because that's just where I'm going to focus my decoration, just because naturally that's what's happened with the foliage that I've been using. And you can see that it's starting to look somewhat like a wreath now. You do need an awful lot of foliage for this, I will say. That was about a carrier bag of mixed foliage I had, and I'm probably going to be a little bit short. So you're probably looking for a couple of carrier bags full, just to make sure that you've got enough to give it the good coverage that you're looking for. But that will depend on the type of material that you're using. So a lot of the greenery will be thicker, so you won't need to use as much of it. Another useful thing for these, if you're interested in Scottish heritage or witchcraft at all, is that all the plants have different meanings. So ivy, for example, is good for protection, to symbolise protection. Juniper is used for cleansing and dispelling any negative energy. Rosemary keeps unwanted visitors away. So if you hang rosemary on your door, that helps if there's anyone you don't want to see. So it's quite interesting depending on, well, I suppose it can be interesting if that's something that you find intriguing. I like it. So for this bottom bit, because I'm running out, I'm just going to wind ivy round, and then I'm going to use some rosemary to wind round the bottom bit as well. And I'm just going to use the branches themselves just to wind round this a little bit. And then I will secure it with wire on top also. So that's just wrapping the ivy around, and you can cut any bits that don't look too pleasing to the eye, just cut them off. To give me a little bit more coverage where I've ran out of my foliage. And it smells beautiful as well, it smells like Christmas. So our rosemary here, just going to get a little bunch, and I've got some thyme and some ivy, and hopefully that will make enough of a little bunch to just fill in this bit.
I guess you could dry some orange as well and put that on, thread that on.
I happen to have some made earlier.
Of course, you're always one step ahead of me.
So that's just so you can see the difference with the herbs, and I'm going to put another bit of wire here just to secure that, although you can sort of start threading it into the wire that's already there as well, just to secure it. But that's your wreath starting to take shape. And we'll find probably a couple of bits of orange just to bulk out the last little bit, as Chris suggested. So I'm just going to knot the wire, because it's jewellery wire, it's quite easy to knot. It's quite easy to fold in on itself and just put a little simple knot in to secure it. So that's it, just covered in the foliage there, and then we're going to add some decoration. And we're just going to add other little bits of wire just to hold in any bits, or we'll trim off any bits that maybe aren't perfect. Is that easy enough for everybody, just for a starter wreath?
Looks really good, thank you. I actually arrived late, so I was wondering where you got your wire from. You know, your pink wire there. Where did you get that from?
The pink wire I actually got, it's just jewellery wire.
All right.
I got that from a scrap store, which is just like a sort of artist charity shop. So I think I only paid maybe 50p for the roll of that, but you can use, it's really good. You can use things like fishing gut or garden wire are equally as nice as well, and you don't see them as much as the pink. I quite like the pink though, I don't mind it so much.
Thank you.
If you came late as well, Hazel, I don't know if you know that we used Michaella used a coat hanger for the shape, so that it's just wrapped around a coat hanger and do a circle, or there was a love heart shape as well, or whatever you want to do it, I guess. Yeah.
Cool.
You just I just got some pliers and just started sort of bending the shape out to give me whatever I need, and then if you want to put it back into a circle, it's easy. You can make whatever shape it is that you like, as long as you've got enough wire. If you use really strong gardening wire, you can make your own shapes as well. You know, you can make stars and stuff, and just let your imagination go wild. Or another thing that I've seen is sculptures Christmas sculptures like wreaths, but made from chicken wire. So if you get chicken wire, and you can even just put it in a tube and then just thread all your greenery through it, and if you put a lovely candle in the middle, it makes a really beautiful centerpiece. But I've seen them shaped into snowmen and stuff like that as well, and just covered in herbs and greenery, and they look gorgeous. They look really pretty.
Michaella, could I ask you, I missed when you said it, you said and gather from waist height and up your greenery. Why did you say from waist height?
Oh, because of dog pee.
Oh, right.
Just whenever you're foraging, just the rule of thumb is waist height and above, just because, you know, there's a lot of animals that are out there that are equally competing for whatever you're foraging for. So yeah, just be safe, especially in case you're going to eat anything that you forage. Just 1 second, I'm just trying to find my orange slices. Here they are. So these orange slices are dehydrated myself. Just cut an orange into 1/2 centimetre slices, and you put them in the oven for quite a while. Probably, I think I left these ones in overnight, just to make sure that they're completely dry. But now I can use them for decorations, for whatever I need. You don't just have to slice them. The other thing that you can do, if you want to dry out, you know, the whole oranges and limes and lemons that you get online just now, they're really good for making garlands and things. So to make them, you just take an orange and slice it down this way, all the way around, and that allows the moisture right from the centre of the orange to be dried right out. These will take a lot longer to dry. If you have a friend with a kitchen or an industrial oven, then use that. And yes, Chris says that Transition Stirling has a dehydrator that you can use as well, which is just perfect. So I'm just going to attach these onto probably the heavier side, or possibly up here where that looks a little bit barer. So I'm going to attach a couple just layered. Threes is normally good. If you group things in threes, it looks much better for some reason, no matter what you're doing, for table decorations or for decorating any item. So I'm just going to pierce wire through these to hold them together, and then use the wire just to attach them. I'll show you exactly what I mean just now. So we've just got a piece of wire here, and this is how I want them to be sitting. So I'm just piercing the wire through to effectively make a big staple that I can then use to attach on to the wreath as well. So you've got this. So that's what it looks like from the front, and that's what you have there. And then this can just get simply wrapped. Oh, that one's came off. That's okay, we can reattach that. Some of them might rip. You might have to reattach a couple of them sometimes. You can just glue them as well. Just use a hot glue gun if you prefer. Just glue the top one back on. So then you have something like this. And that took me about 10 minutes to gather all that stuff this morning, minus the dehydrating of the oranges. But we're going to add a little bit more decoration on. Now you can use old Christmas decorations that you have lying about, pine cones, anything. Cinnamon sticks are beautiful on anything. Star anise is beautiful as a decoration as well. I think I've got some old Christmas decorations I'm just going to stick on. Pine cone and a holly leaf actually is what we've settled for. Pine cone and a holly leaf. So that doesn't look quite busy enough to me. I think there's not enough brown on there, so I'm going to look for another pine cone. Similar. Ooh, actually, this might be quite nice. These are another things that I got from, this was another scrap store purchase. It was a bag of bows and different bits, and they're really beautiful Hessian bows. So instead of the pine cone, because this has already got a staple similar to the one we had, I'm just going to take a little bit of playing about with, but I'm going to pop that there. And where did my pine cone go? Little pine cone. I think we'll just pop in the middle there, just for the detail, and it's going to sit. Need to move because the hangers here, so this bow should sit a little bit more like this. I've got a hot glue gun to the side there. That's what I'm using to glue my pine cone on. Like this. That's the back. And then what you can do also is you could hang Christmas decorations so they hang in the middle to give you a little bit more decoration for your wreath. So something like that, for example, where you'd have a little, it's just a little snowman that I'm going to show you how to make there. And then to finish the wreath, we use florist tape. You can use ribbon, I just find florist tape a lot more convenient, really. It's like paper, but it's sort of sticky, so it's a lot easier to move on the wire, and it covers a lot of the wire up. It looks like this. I think this was about £1 online. It's kind of like crepe paper, but it's sort of sticky on one side. And we just use that to wrap your wire so that you can cover up all that horrible white. And see, because it's got the sort of sticky bit on the back, it just adheres to the coat hanger, which is fantastic. So you just have that covered, and then that is your wreath. You can bend the hook so that it goes the other way. And there we go, one wreath from a coat hanger. There's a couple of adaptations I'm going to quickly show you of this as well that we can do. One of them is with rags. So same thing, you have your coat hanger and you'll come up with something like this. This is already in a love heart shape. And all we've done for this one is got lengths of material. This is just scrap bits of material that I've pleated. And all we're going to do is, you want your lengths about, probably about 10 inches, probably, and then you can trim them if you like after that. So I'm just cutting loads of these into lengths, and the thicker the fabric, the less you'll need to cover your wreath as well. So all we do with this one is we take a bit of fabric and we just tie it in a knot. And we keep doing that over and over and over and over again. And add different colours in, and you might find that you have to sort of, you know, like mess them about a little bit, but you just keep repeating that process, and this is what you'll end up with. So the only other thing that I've done with this one is I've added a bow, well, 2 bows actually, onto the top, and that's it. It's just literally the material wrapped around all the way around in all different colours, and then the 2 bows added to the top. So that's another version of the coat hanger wreath that you can do. You can also do these ones, which is good for all the leftover baubles that you've got, or if you're like me and I have lots of different colours, lots of different colour schemes for my Christmas tree. So this is a quite handy way to store your excess baubles and your excess decorations, because it does take quite a lot. So all you have to do for this one to achieve that is you just get all your baubles, and you need, I think there's about 50 on there. And with your coat hanger, you just need to untwist this bit for the one with the baubles. So untwist the top so that you have this. And you might have to straighten this up a little bit. And you just simply thread the baubles on top. So these little bits here, this little bit, not your wire, but this little bit here, you just pop them on. And you just keep going. You just keep adding more and more baubles, and that one turns up like this. So the only other thing I've done with this one is I've put bows in between as well. And you may not be able to see them all. Just from the back out. So I've just popped bows intermittently all the way around as well, just to add a little more detail to that. But once you've added all the baubles and you feel that it's enough, you just use the same bit of wire again. This is a bit fiddly, you might need pliers for this. And it goes back really neatly together. So that's how you would do this one. And again, I've just finished that with the florist wire at the top as well. But I found that one really handy just to store down old baubles. Whilst we're talking about baubles, this one that I just picked up, that was a really naff bauble that I just covered in old, I think that's an old map, wrapping paper map. And our Christmas tree changed colour this year, you see. So instead of buying all new baubles, we effectively wrapped the baubles in paper and then decorated the top of them. So it's just decoupage, so it's little strips of paper of an old map that I've covered in PVA and then just applied on the bauble and then painted PVA over the top. After that, we just need a little bit of ribbon or some sort of bow or decoration. Again, this is just scrap store finds. Everything I get is normally from the charity shop or scrap stores. If it's not, then it's found online. I try and get nearly everything that I can second hand or reuse. We do get a lot of stuff given and donated as well, which is lovely when people just want a new lease of life for things. So I'm just tying a little bow around the top of this. So we've got some excess herbs here that we have left over from the bow, and all I'm going to do is just glue them on the front there so that we have a pretty little bauble. So I've got so many crafts here, I think I've got too many to cover really well in the time that we've got left. So I'm going to run through a couple really quickly, and then any that you would like expanded on, please just jump in and let me know, because I've got loads here to look at. Right, so quickly run through a couple of these other crafts, and then you guys tell me what you want to expand on. So one of the last wreaths that I'm going to show you is this was just, I had an old bit of fencing outside, you know, the bamboo fencing that I didn't really like. So I soaked the bamboo for 3 days in the bath, and that makes it pliable and bendy. You do the same thing with willow, and then I wrapped it round itself. You can see that to give me a sort of wooden wreath like you would get in the shops. And on top of there, all I've done is gathered leaves. Same way we did with the fresh herbs and the greenery, but this is just lots and lots of leaves from maples and acers and stuff. So that's quite nice as well. We've also used some old twigs to make hanging stars, so we're just going to put a little thing here to hang to make this a larger Christmas decoration as well. And again, this is just the bamboo that we used, but just cut into different lengths and then secured at the different points to give you a nice star Christmas decoration. One thing
you're showing us how to make wicker men as well.
Well, I do make them actually, but they're called Bridget Healing dolls. They're not for they're not for bad stuff. They're only for good stuff. But yeah, that was actually part of my main altar. But it's going to be a Yule decoration now. Yeah, we can get into witchcraft if you want, Chris. I'm all about that.
I think it meets our funding.
So this is another example of using some foraged stuff. It's just everything that I could find, whether it be bits of pine cones and scrap bits of wood and just odd bits of decoration and berries that I've stuck on a wooden cone with hot glue. And this is the result. So you can go and spend like £25 on one of these in the shops right now, or you could just go walk and get some cardboard and glue it all together and make your own one. It has a lot more meaning that way as well. Similarly, if you are going foraging, these are quite nice, just presents for people. A lot of people are into smudging and stuff just now. The Scottish version of that is seining, whereby you don't actually have to light it, which is a lot handier because then you don't have to make sure all your stuff's organic and okay for when you light it. So these work the same way as smudge sticks would, except you don't light them. They bring, they dispel negative energy and they bring happiness and joy into a home, depending on how you use the flowers. But you would just wrap them when you get them fresh, and then put them on hang them upside down in the bunches to dry, or rest them flat on a radiator to dry for a couple of days. Now, if you put oranges and stuff on here and wrap them round as well, they're just really beautiful Christmas decorations, or even centerpieces for the table. Really pretty and really easy to do. So there's those. We've also got, this is another, so this is, you can see this one a little bit more easily. Just a very, very easy cone tree decoration. This one too. That's just beads that we covered a paper cone in. So you can do loads of different sizes and cover them in fabric, in greenery, and old decorations. You could cover them in baubles. So you could make your wreaths to match your 3D trees, you know, to match your Christmas tree. You can make everything coordinate for really, really cheap. I mean, this is literally just a cardboard cone with some old beads that I wasn't using on the tree anymore glued around it, and that's all that is. This one is just the paper. Thanks, Chris. This one is just the paper cone made, which I'll show you how to do quickly, and then just a little bit of string along the bottom with an orange peel and a couple of old decorations. And again, it matches the decor in my house. We've got some handmade cards and stuff we've made with the same material, so it just looks pretty. So to make one of the cones, just for your base, I buy a lot of these. These are from the Works, they're £3. And they're quite handy if you need different kinds of cards. This is a Christmas one, so it's just all different. And the easiest way to do your cone is literally to, I freehand everything as well, by the way. I don't measure anything. I just fix it once it's done. So I would just draw myself a basic curve. And then we just push it like this so that you've got a flap here that you can use the glue. So I'm just pulling that round. I'm going to secure it at the bottom with glue there, and then that will allow me to glue down here and fold that over and make a cone, and then we'll just cut off the excess. Just be careful of your fingers on the molten glue.
One of the hottest things known to man.
It really is. I burnt myself so many times in the past couple of days trying to get everything prepped for today. I think I taught my daughter some words that I shouldn't. So I just cut that to tidy it up a little bit at the bottom, and just make sure that it's sitting straight enough for you. And do the same, just tidy up the sides here, trim off the excess. Cone Christmas tree. So if you've got lots of different, even if you don't want to decorate them, if you've just got lots of different sizes and lots of different colours, it can make a really, really nice display. Just, you know, sitting about the house. And again, groups of 3, so always do everything in groups of 3s. It looks aesthetically more pleasing. If you can vary height, texture and colour as well, then you're definitely on to a winner. But yeah, so that's a really quick, easy way of doing tree decorations. We've got these as well. Now, I love these. These are sock snowmen and sock gnomes. Don't know if you can you see his little nose. So with these as well, I'm actually using smaller versions of these for hand warmers, just for people, because you could just sit them on the radiator, or if you make sure that the materials you're using are microwave safe, then you can actually microwave them and use them as a proper heat pad as well. So I use rice inside them, and we need a sock, so old sock here. Fluffier the better for the snowman. We'll show you him first. If you have any nice essential oils that you like, then this is a good time to add them in as well. That'll mean just turn the heat up and smell a lot better, and well, if you use lavender, it should help calm you, etc. if you believe in that sort of stuff. So this is just normal rice, and I'm just filling this stock as neatly as I can. You could make other things. It doesn't have to be these. I think a polar bear would probably be quite nice as well. It could be quite cute. Okay. So I've got some rice in my sock here. You can, just depending on the type of sock, sometimes you can just tie the top there with the actual sock. This one isn't that pliable, so I'm just going to use some ribbon. And I'm just going to tie around here and then cut off the excess of the sock and the ribbon. And then just get another little something that you can tie. Even the hair bands and stuff are quite good for this as well. And I'm just making his head by just tying that. And it doesn't matter what knot you use because it's just to secure it, so I'm just using a normal double knot. And again, take the excess off. Then you need a Christmas sock. And all you have to do for his little hat is cut the toe off. Here, we're going to cut this line just before the heel. Turn the outside up like that, pop that on his head, and we're going to tie round here to give him his little bauble. I don't know why I love these so much, they're just so cute. It's a fun one to make for the little ones as well. So we've got his body, we've got his little hat. Depending on what kind of sock it is, so this one's got a looser weave on it, so I actually used clothes for these buttons, which makes them smell nice too. But if you can use normal buttons that you can glue on, or you could use sequins, or you could use little gemstones.
Did you just push the clothes in?
Yeah, just push the clothes in through the knit. This one, because it's funny, I won't be able to do that. So I think I'm probably just going to draw on that one with the permanent marker for the moment. But the clothes were really nice. If it's properly knitted, yes, you can just push them right through the knitwear. I've got 3D fabric plate here, so we'll just use that instead. You can get versions of this in the pound shop as well. I'm just going to do this for his little buttons and his eyes, and then I should have a random carrot somewhere. Oh, and his little mouth. Can't forget his little mouth.
That sentence of the day, I should have a random carrot somewhere.
So that's it. Just his eyes are a bit wonky. Don't want wonky eyes. It's in there. And then we need a carrot. Now the carrots actually, they were from the pound shop. It was a bag of little carrots that they had out at Easter, and I just cut the end off and then use that. But you could make a little paper cone, or you could use a little bit of even like orange peel or a crayon or anything. Right, the carrots disappeared, so we'll just do a little felt nose instead. That's what we'll do. So needle felting is another Christmas craft that I am very much into. You get lots of fibres that are like this, and to needle felt, this is one I made earlier. It's a needle felted fox, but I'm just going to steal some of these orange to make the carrot nose. So because it's just a little bit, I actually don't need to needle felt that. I can just sort of roll it and it's kind of forming its own.
Is that a special type of felt you use in there? Is that readily available?
You can buy felt fibres really easily online. These ones, I just got mixed bags from, again, it was a scrap store. So I think I paid about £5 for all of that. But I'm going to show you different ways that you can use them. This is just that's just a little funny way. And there's so many different, you can get everything, you can get all sorts of thread fibres from like merino to quite cheap ones. These are just very basic, quite cheap ones. But they do the job. So that's our little snowman out of socks. So you can do the gnome in the same fashion. So the way that I made this little gnome here is I have the scrap bit of sock. So I used hot glue and glued in between here and glued this all. Again, please watch your fingers. And then when that was dry, turned that outside in and filled him with sand. Not sand, sorry. You can use sand, but I filled him with rice. And then I just glued, once he was full, I just kind of folded this over and used the hot glue gun to glue it closed, and then that would be the front there. But again, you have to wait till it's a little bit drier than he is.
My mum made me something a few Christmases ago that was similar to this. It was a bag, but she filled it with, she got some cherry stones. I think she bought them online, and they retain the heat quite well. If you put them, I mean, she's got a nice log burner that you can put things, it's like a kettle hob thing on the top as well. So she puts them in there and filled it with lavender, and yeah, they were rather nice.
It's brilliant. I suppose they're just an adaptation on like hand warmers, because you can use cherry stones, you can use chickpeas, you could use lentils, you can use rice. There's a huge variety of things that you can use that are microwave safe, that would retain the heat, so that you could use it as a proper warmer. Just make sure that the fabric that you're using, and if you're going to put that in the microwave, you want to sew everything, you don't want to glue it. Don't glue anything, and don't use any materials that'll melt in the microwave. So you would just sort of sew the details on instead of using the pen like I did there, or the clothes would be okay in the microwave, I think, as well. But yeah, they're brilliant. They're really good, and my little one likes them just because they've got a little bit of personality instead of a normal hot water bottle. So once he's filled up, we just need a scrap bit of fur, and we need a scrap bit of fur and a bit of felt for his hat. just old jammies, we can use that as well. That'll just give us a fluffier hat. If you're using fleece, just be wary of super glue, because super glue can make fleece melt. So just be careful depending on what sort of glue you're using. So for this one, I've already got a seam here, so I'm going to use that, so I only need to glue one side. So I'm just going to cut a triangle, and that will become his hat then. Like this. And I'm going to glue it like that. Or I'm going to be easier to do this way. I'm going to glue in here so that when I turn it inside out, you can't see the edges. Myself with the glue. Yeah, please just watch your fingers with the glue because it's very, very hot. If you can use gloves, just do that. So the only other thing that we'll have to do after we've done the hat is we'll need a nose for him, and you can use really whatever you want for the nose. I used a bead the last time. Just using, this is just a little polystyrene ball thing. I'm only using that because it's what's here, it's what's about. And for his beard, today I'm just going to use a bit of this. So just a little bit of trim, just so that we've got a contrasting colour, because I don't want his nose and his beard and the white on the hat to all be the same. So he's going to look more Nordic, like that. And again, we're just going to glue it along here and glue his beard on like so. And then we're just going to glue his little nose on like so. And hopefully by that time our hat's dry, we can turn it inside out. Got a little hat. I'm going to use some more of the scraps of the sock, and we're just going to use that for the trim around his hat and the top, and then we're going to glue that on, and that's all it takes to make that little gnome gown. You can get the best effect for the beards, I think, is from Mongolian fur, but that's quite expensive. So I would just use old scraps that you have in the house, or old clothes, or something that you can pick up in the charity shop. So we're just going to glue this around the bottom of his hat. So that'll be like, and then we just need to make a little full pom-pom for the top, and I'm just going to fold a bit of this over a bit of the same fur that we're using. So I'm just going, for the pom-pom, I'm just going to fold that over like this, and then that's going to glue on top, and that'll be enough for pom-pom. Yeah. Or you could technically just fold it over the top of the hat as well. So you could just and then this just gets glued on his head. And there's your little gnome. Yours will be a lot neater than mine, but so if you do larger ones, you can make them paperweights and stuff as well. And you can give them little arms and make them hold coffees and all sorts of fun things. There's loads of patterns for these on the internet, but they're very quick and easy. So that's your snowman and your little gnome. Yeah, so we've also got pomanders, so oranges. You can make beautiful decorations that smell beautiful, and if you sit them on the radiator, they make your whole house smell divine and smell like Christmas. These are simply by getting cloves and stuffing them into oranges. The other thing that you can do is you can cut some of the rind away to give you some negative space as well. So with this one, I've just started doing a spiral at the top, and I'll just keep continuing doing that all the way around. I'm just literally pushing the cloves right into, and this is the same thing that I've done for the buttons on the snowman. Just putting the cloves right into the orange. And if you've got a full basket of these on the table, a full like glass bowl of different designs, they look so pretty for the middle of the table and they smell so good. You can also then just fire them in your mulled wine that you're making as well, which is handy. So you just carry on studding that all the way around so that it's completely covered in the spiral that you like, and then you can do so many different designs. You can have lines going down, you can add ribbons on them. We've got a little grater here I'll be able to show you. So this is going to work. So if you were a lot neater than me, you can use like sort of graters just to go in between to make them really pretty and really well patterned. They also smell a lot more the minute you start taking the rind off them, and then it leaves you lovely decorations and a good excuse to have a cocktail afterwards as well. Another thing that we've got is decorating jars. So you've got lots of old jars and mason jars at Christmas lying about, and one of the easiest ways to decorate them, I think, is by making them look snowy. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to get Epsom salts, like these in the back. Again, these are from the fine shop. Get an old jar, any old jar at all, just one that you've lost the lid of, and cover it in PVA or Mod Podge. If you have Mod Podge, use Mod Podge, but I don't, I've run out, so we're using PVA. Most people would probably tell you to use a paintbrush. I like getting messy, so I would use my hands, and just spread the glue out to make sure you've got a sort of even coverage, but enough for the Epsom salts to stick to, because they are quite heavy. And again, they smell beautiful, so it's a really nice gift for people. And all we do with this is sprinkle the Epsom salts over it. You can also mix glitter in with them if you like as well, just to give you an extra bit of sparkle. So you can see I've just got a container here to catch any excess, and I'm just sprinkling this on, and then I'll keep working around the tub until I've got it all covered. And you can just flatten it down if you find that you've got too many bits on a certain area, and you can top it up and even it out later on as well if there's any bits you've missed. But that is how it will start to look, all Christmassy and snowy. And all we do to finish that is we add a bow on the top. This is one I made earlier. This has got two different kinds of Epsom salts on it. So it's got a coarser one than the one I've just used, but the finer one looks more sparkly. I think it gives a better effect. So this is one that we've done earlier. We just added a ribbon on the top of that, and then we're just going to glue a little decoration to the front, and then that will be finished as well. You can use the same effect on lots of different things. So penguins. If you want a quick and cheap way of making your table look really, really Christmassy, just put some glue on the pine cones I would probably suggest you brush this on just so that you get the proper edges, because I might get a little bit too much here. And you can just dip this in the Epsom salt. So you've got your glue on your pine cone and just dip them in your Epsom salts and they'll look all snowy and Christmassy. And you can do that with anything. Again, if you think there's bits that have got too much on it, just take them off and adjust as you see fit. So that one we could actually, that's a bit big. Those little jars there. So what we'll add to this one then, since that's too big, is this is another cool thing, recycling paper. Paper in a blender, rip it up into loads of little pieces and cover it in hot and warm water, let it steep for 15 minutes. Gives you handmade paper. So what I've done with these is I've put flower seeds inside them all, and these are now seed bombs, so you can send them to someone, they can plant them and then they can see your gift grow. So I'm going to add that as a little tag onto the front of this, and then I'll probably fill it with a little plant or some herbs or something like that. So that'll be sort of DIY gift from me to one of my loved ones.
I like that one. Did you say you just blended up paper with water there?
Yes, I blended up paper with water. I've got all my paper making stuff as well, because I thought you might like that for the natural dyes. I actually used the natural dye water. I recycled it and used it in the paper water, so that I had paper dyed hibiscus from the leftover water from fabric. So it's all getting used. But yes, you rip loads of little bits of paper up and just cover it in warm water, let it steep, blend it, and that gives you, when you get that pulp, you just lay it out on a surface, ideally a mesh, and just leave it to dry, really. These were just cookie cutter molds. That's all that one was.
That's
just need to be
cool.
careful that they're not too thick, because if they're too thick, then the seeds will grow inside before you have the chance to dry them.
Nice, that's cool.
Yeah, you like that? It was really nice actually having, because I done the hand dyed fabric. It's nice to have, the idea is to wrap things up in the hand dyed fabric and then to have a gift tag that matches with the handmade paper that that was used, so it all sort of goes together. So there you go for that one. And so stockings is a very quickly, I'll show you stockings as well. This is the quickest class I've ever done. I've not realised how quickly the time's went. So we've got a couple of stockings I can show you. This one is one of my favourites, and this was just used, this is just a stocking out of a scrap jumper, but it's scraps and jewellery that I've embroidered on top of felt, and then just put them on top of the stocking and stitched that all on. So that's just using broken jewellery just to decorate things. This is one of my other ones. And that was just an old fur blanket and little cut up bits of an old jumper as well. So they're really, really easy stockings to make. You just need a basic template. You don't even need a template. If you know what a stocking looks like, you can draw it out yourself. And all you do is you make sure you have a double layer of fabric. So let me clear some of this. So you have a double layer of fabric, and you just draw a stocking shape, but draw it slightly larger than how big you want your stocking to be, which should allow you 1 centimetre all the way around for stitching until La Ferrera. So we're just going to draw a very basic stocking shape. And you can make it as basic or as complicated as you like, really. I like the stockings that have got the elf toes that curl up as well. They're quite nice. So draw out your stocking shape like this, and that is on a double layer of fabric. So I've got 2 layers of fabric there. So that will give me my front and my back. I'm just going to cut those out, and once I've got them cut out, you simply just sew around the edges of where you've cut out. So I'll show you here. And then I've just
Donna's have to go, so thank you, Donna and Angie, for joining us, and
thank you.
Yeah, we'll see you again, hopefully.
So this one, I've just cut out the shape, and then as you can see there, it's just been sewn all the way around with just over, that was a bit messy, just over 1 centimetre to give your stocking shape. When you've done that and you turn it the right way around again, that is what you get. These, and you can do that with any sort of fabric at all. You can also do patchworks. If you patchwork lots of different fabrics together, as long as you have the shape cut out of paper or material that you can lie on top of that and then trace around it, you can use a multitude. Denim stockings are really cool just now. I've seen a lot of them being done the same way, just by using jeans instead of the double layers of fabric. And that's just a bit of jumper that was stitched into the top. So all you would do after you've cut out your stocking shape and sewn, after you've cut out your stocking shape, if you want to add a fancy bit onto the top, it's easier to do that before you join the 2 sides together. So you would this one, I just glued a little bit of fur because I'd already sewn this together. I just got a strip of fur and then just folded it over the inside and glued all the way around the inside, and this is the result of that one. Very simple, very basic. Cards is another good one to do. Cards are always good to do for Christmas, and some of the best things to use is Scrabble letters. So I've got some examples here, and these are just different bits of paper or little bits of decoration that have been cut out and coloured and then just glued onto the card. This one, for example, is just an old book page with a little bit of red paper cut out for his stomach, and I just shaded round it outside and then just drew a line in for his wing, his eye and his nose, and that's it. And it's a very effective little cute Christmas card. This one is just lines drawn over the paper. You draw a couple of lines down and then use any gems or little bits of fabric. This is just a little bit of fabric that this is just a little bit of fabric that I used, and this again, and I've just cut them out in the right shape, stuck them on. This bit's paper. That was the old bit of a Christmas icicle decoration, and these are just sticky gems from the pound shop that we stuck on. So, but again, a very effective card. This one is really easy, and again, that's just glitter glue that's just been drawn on in 3 different colours, and that's all it is, just glitter glue drawn over. But that was one of my
really nice, and that's very very trendy. Though I like that one.
It's really easy to do. You can do. I can show you with these fabric paints because it'll be a similar effect. So I'll just show you on the bottom. It will look different because it's different materials that we're using. But you just so you know you're just using you're just drawing little lines with the fabric paint, or because you can do this on fabric as well. Just because this one's on paper doesn't mean that's all you could do. And it's really just little lines drawn and then layered with a lighter colour with some glitter in it over the top. And it does look really effective. You could also use things like Tipex to give you a similar effect. There you go. Is there anything that I haven't gone over that anyone would like me to go over quickly? I've still got loads of crafts on the table, so I'm trying to I'm trying to make sure that the things that I have covered you're okay with, and is there anything else that you would like me to re-go over before we finish?
Is there anything you've got along the lines of tinsel rather than buying tinsel?
Tinsel, I don't buy tinsel. So everything that we've done with the wreaths, I use in garland form.
Okay.
So I would use like the wire, for example, instead of using a coat hanger wire, just use this wire and attach your bunches of foliage or your pine cones to the wire, and then I would have them hanging instead. One thing, oh, I do have these actually, which I started making garlands out of. So this is it's a salt dough recipe, but it looks like proper gingerbread. And I've also put cinnamon in it and essential oils so that it smells really nice. So you could put them on a garland along with the pine cones and things, so that it would be more like touch better than that.
Salt dough always reminds me of a dog I had as a child who used to eat everything and ate a load of salt dough one day, and was just drinking the whole day. Like you just heard the dog drinking the whole day.
Yeah, so you got that salt dough recipe that I've used there is really easy. It was just it was 2 cups of flour to 1 cup of salt, and then water, and two teaspoonfuls of cinnamon, and then I added a couple of drops of essential oil, and it smells beautiful. So you could do that for a garland, and then you could also hang your sort of herbs and things in between it as well, or even thread your oranges too. You know, have that sort of. The other thing that you could do is you could just layer. You could layer a lot of oranges and a lot of pine cones. So if you didn't want anything else on, if you just wanted it to be a sort of all natural kind of garland instead of tinsel, you would just thread all your fruit or attach your pine cones on the wire and just keep layering like that, and then you'd eventually get a big long garland. Even with the tie-in of the fabric though, that definitely looks really, really good in a garland form as well. You just need to make sure that you've got quite strong wire, because it does get kind of weighty. So for the decorations on top of these as well, I've got the salt dough, and then I've got some bits of plant matter, and I've put the bits of this lying on the board, put the clay on top of the board, and then rolled that out, and that's how I've got the imprint of the fur and things. So you put that under, you put the foliage underneath your clay on top of the chopping board, and then your clay on top of the foliage, and then you use your rolling pin to roll it out, and you use cookie cutters to get your shape, and then when you lift them off, it'll have this sort of colour. You then just bake them for 2 hours, and they smell like cinnamon and Christmas. This one I just used paint just to highlight the shape of the conifer that was printed into it as well. So yeah, that's a good one for the kids too, because it's really easy and they can do whatever they like with it. Other garlands. I don't use tinsel at all, so I find that quite difficult, because most of my garlands are made up of like I make a lot of little decorations like this as well. So I would have them hanging off the garlands with pine cones and stuff instead. Or this is one that I'm working on for the house. Instead of having garlands to make it look like snow, which is literally just thread with cotton wool balls on it attached to a branch, but it's going to look like snow when it's all finished. Hopefully, that's the idea anyway. But I don't use any tinsel at all. So all these sort of things would be very easy to turn into garlands. You just straighten out the wire and then do the same, or attach it to a bit of ribbon instead. Is there any questions from anybody else?
Guess not. Personally, I thought that was a great workshop. I think we've got loads of ideas and inspiration there anyhow.
Oh, thank you. I've got so much. It was such a short class. I've got so much still to go through.
Perhaps we need to do part 1 and part 2 next year.
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
But yeah.
I feel very inspired by Michaella, and I have to say, I went into my local charity shop and I bought yesterday, and I managed to get these Christmas card holders.
Brilliant.
And while you've been talking, I've started doing that one.
Oh, it looks fantastic.
So I don't know if you see it, and I thought that, and I get like you had been in the garden, but your ideas are absolutely wonderful. That's actually just threaded through because it's got hold stuff.
That's perfect. What a clever idea. You've managed to get yourself a shortcut as well. Wonderful.
And reusable. So
it looks so good. Please let us see a picture of it when it's all finished. I'd really like to see pictures of anything that anyone makes after today. I'd love that.
And I have to show you this thing because I did your other class, and I had a little snoot thing, and it was a reclaimed, and I had this, but it got holes in it. So I think it was moths got at it. So I did some embroidery after your embroidery.
Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, I love that. Oh, I'm so happy that you got an idea from it. It looks so good.
So
that is amazing.
I can wear it again now.
Oh, yay.
Got another wreath there.
So good.
That's great.
Oh, fantastic.
I love that.
Have you just done that today?
Beautiful.
That wreath, is that just made today as well?
Yes, yeah. My other child was doing it earlier with us. But
That's great.
she was saying, slow down, they're going too fast. but yeah, she did really well.
Absolutely, that's perfect. That nice and full.
That's great.
Yeah, I don't know where I am gone now. Oh. Yeah, it's fun, isn't it?
I made a wee wreath as well while we were on too.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, that's nice.
And my daughter was on earlier, and she was putting some glitter onto pine cones, so I put those on as well. So pretty chuffed with that. And yeah, thanks for all the ideas. There are absolutely tons of amazing ideas.
Yeah,
loads of stuff to go on and do. Thank you.
I'll just reiterate what Michaella said. Please send us photos of things that you make. Put them onto our Facebook page or our Facebook group page, which is Transition Stirling Community. Find Michaella at the Remakery Alloa, all one word. I'll put that in the chat. That's on YouTube and Instagram. Sorry, I can't multitask. I think that's right, isn't it, Michaella? The Remakery, yeah. But yeah, send us photos. We always like to see what you're doing. You could always just email them to me, and then I can share them on the Facebook or the website or whatever. Please do fill that feedback form in as well. It really does help. I can't stress that enough. It really does help us to improve. I'll try and get this video together. I've got a couple of videos to do, so I'll try and get this video together and send that out to you as well, so you can re-watch and get other ideas and things, or see if you missed anything, have a go at that, or follow along. If you have any other questions that you think of after today as well, please feel free to email me or contact Michaella. The workshop, as we always say, doesn't finish here. We're always happy to help and assist. Have a look at the tool library catalogue for various items that we have that will help you. If you're not in Stirling, check out your local tool library or library of things. That they are popping up all over the country as well. I know that there's one in Edinburgh. Linlithgow's got a tool library. Glasgow, I'm pretty sure, has as well. But I'm sure you're not too far away from a tool library or a library of things. They're becoming quite the thing now. Check out your local scrap store as well. I put a map or a link to a scrap store map in the chat earlier as well, so check that out. Or just Google, like Michaella says, scrap store near me. I'm sure you'll find something. Okay, Michaella, anything you want to add? You're muted. You're on mute. Michaella, you're on mute. You are muted. We cannot hear you.
Oh, well, that's handy that I didn't do that during the class. Just a huge thank you to everyone for joining in today. I really love seeing everything that you guys make, and I can't tell you how much it means that you are joining in. It really makes it all worth it, just seeing everything that you've come up with. So I'd appreciate every single bit of feedback, and any pictures of anything that you make at all. I'm over the moon seeing just what you guys have made today already. It's just, you have done so well, and I'm really impressed. It means it works. The class works if you can make something too, so that's always great.
And share other ideas as well, and inspiration. If you see something else that we haven't covered today, then share us. We're always, Michaella and I are always looking for new things to do and make.
Oh yes, definitely, 100%. Never ever feel like you can't suggest an idea or suggest a class, because that's always an option.
Yeah, it's about skill sharing as much as anything else, or idea sharing.
Oh, well, I hope everyone has a very crafty Christmas, and we get some of that snow to get us in the mood soon.
Oh, I'm sure it's coming.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Cool. Okay, well, enjoy your afternoon, everyone, and we'll see you again soon. And if we don't see you, have a
Thank
good
you so
Christmas.
much.
Thank you, that was great.
Cheers, bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.